This episode is brought to you by Navy Federal Credit Union. It's a special thing to be a member of Navy Federal because they are a member-owned, not-for-profit credit union that invests in its members with amazing rates and low fees. That's why members could earn and save more every year. Plus, they serve all branches of the armed forces, veterans, and their families. So if you're interested in becoming a member, learn more at NavyFederal.org. At Navy Federal Credit Union, our members are the mission. Insured by NCUA.
Shopping for humans is hard. Shopping for your dog is easy thanks to Bark. Every month, we deliver toys and treats just for your dog. Whether it's fun plush or tough toys for heavy chewers, we spoil all the dogs. Subscribe now and get a free upgrade at barkbox.com/iHeart.
Episode 334, Frugal Friends Book Club, 4 money psychology books to read this fall.
Welcome to the Frugal Friends podcast, where you'll learn to save money, embrace simplicity, and live a richer life. Here are your hosts, Jen and Jill.
Welcome to Frugal Friends podcast. My name is Jen.
My name is Jill.
And today we have 4 more books for you to read, all under the theme of psychology. And some are money psychology, some are psychology that can relate to money, but I think you're going to enjoy all 4.
You don't have to read them all. Pick the one that makes the most sense for you in this season. But if you want to, I mean,
But they were scientifically chosen.
Long.
So
true.
You might want to read them all because science.
We have a scientific process that works every time for these book recommendations that we will tell you about. But first, this episode is brought to you by shortcuts. Like watching the movie instead of reading the book. It's always better that way. Don't you dare 1-star me for that. Or avoiding all the traffic because you know a shortcut. Hats off to you if that's ever actually worked out. Or ChatGPTing your research paper. That's just a lose-lose shortcut, though. If you want better shortcuts, the kind that actually work, subscribe to our friend letter. Get all sorts of curated for you freebies and tips, and shortcut your way to a new mug, tote, tee, or even a sweatshirt by referring friends. frugalfriendspodcast.com/friend letter. But then we have a referral program. Once you get the friend letter, you send other people to sign up for the friend letter using your link. It's all going to make sense, you guys. It's science. It tallies who you've sent it to. And as you tally up people, even just one person, you're going to get free merch. Literal merch sent to your door.
Physical.
The first thing's a sticker.
Mail.
The next thing's a mug. The next thing's a tote. Or is it tote first?
It's tote, then
sticker,
mug.
tote, mug, tee, sweatshirt.
Fun.
And if you do it all fast, you can work your way up to having that sweatshirt by winter.
That's what I'm hoping. I think we all really need the sweatshirt. And you will find your updated progress in every single friend letter. It is customized to you because of technology, which is also can be a science. But if you're not on the friend letter yet, then definitely sign up frugalfriendspodcast.com/friend letter.
And then start getting free stuff.
All right.
Okay.
Book club. We have done a book club since the very first episode of the show. It's gone through several iterations. And since last year, we have done 3 times a year. We will just talk about 4 different books that you can read in the upcoming season. And that has worked really well. You can see all of our past book recommendations at frugalfriendspodcast.com/books. You can also just listen to the episodes. They're all on that page. One for fall last year was episode 235. And they have typically just been personal finance books, but we wanted to theme this one as money psychology books just to do something a little bit different. And I kind of like it. I think we might keep up with the theme thing. We will see in 4 months what happens. But we have an ultra scientific method for choosing the 4 books every episode. If you are an avid listener of the show, you know this scientific method. If you are new, welcome. You're about to find out the scientific method. This is it. We have something older than 5 years, a book that's newer than 1 year, something borrowed from our listeners, a recommendation, and something blue with a blue cover or blue on the cover. That is the scientific method we choose for the Frugal Friends Book Club books. They must fit those specifications.
Yes. And if they don't make it on this list.
Yeah, and then they don't.
And we don't get married. Not successfully anyway.
No. That would be probably a book lover's dream, though somebody will probably do this. I hope. Please let us know if you do. All right, so let's dive in. First book, something older than 5 years. This one, I can't believe that this is the first time that we are putting this on the list.
I am surprised.
But it deserves a permanent spot in the book club. And it is The One Thing by Gary Keller. If you listened to our prioritization episode last week, then you got kind of a deep dive into the gist of this book. So The One Thing by Gary Keller and Jay Pompazan is based on I think they call it the refining question, but it is, what is one thing that I can do now that makes everything else easier or unnecessary later? And this is a business book. So if you want to succeed in your career more quickly, I guess, or if you have a business and you want things to be streamlined in it, this is going to be tailored to you. But the ideas are applicable in your personal life as well. So whatever goal you're trying to reach can really be reached faster if you focus on one goal at a time. I'll read part of the description from Amazon because I think it does a really great job of selling the book. The daily barrage of emails, texts, tweets, messages, and meetings distract you and stress you out. The simultaneous demands of work and family are taking a toll. And what's the cost? Second-rate work, missed deadlines, smaller paychecks, fewer promotions, and lots of stress. And you want more. You want more productivity from your work, more income for a better lifestyle. You want more satisfaction from life and more time for yourself, your family, your friends. Now you can have both less and more. What a radical middle moment. I love. In The One Thing, you'll learn to cut through the clutter, achieve better results in less time, build momentum towards your goal, dial down the stress, and overcome that overwhelmed feeling. So we talked a lot about the refining question in our prioritization episode last week, but this book also goes into strategies. Once you have decided on your goal and that priority, it goes into how to strategize. And honestly, it might take a couple reads to fully understand. Maybe you're smarter than me. It took me a couple reads to really understand. It's simple, but it's also complex. I think my only criticism of the book is that maybe they overcomplicate the concept of goals are great, but you need strategies to achieve your goals. Goals are kind of like out there floating around dreams, and strategies are things you are in control of. So like you can say, I have a goal to make 6 figures this year. The strategies are, and this is like straight from the book, is like I have the control over how many sales calls I make in a day. So if I want to make this much money, I have to sell this much in a year, and I will make this many sales. I convert it 5%. So this is how many calls I have to make per year, per month, per day, sort of thing. So reverse engineering and creating strategies to get to your goals. That's really where this book shines. And yes, it's about work, but it teaches you how to put it in to your life and specifically your finances too. They do talk about your financial life.
Did you listen to the audio version of this? Do you think that that's a reasonable way to move through this book?
You know what? I listen to so many audiobooks. This is not one of the audiobooks I've listened to. I should listen to the audio version.
Might have, yeah.
It was before I got into audiobooks. I'll say
nice. Yeah.
Once I started getting into audiobooks, I stopped reading with my eyes.
I would say this one just needs to be recommended because you'll understand Jen a lot more and the references she makes to this book by reading it.
Probably.
But
Yeah.
I think that this is something we could all use assistance with. It came for more to our attention in the prioritization episode that we just did, how important it is to even be able to identify what is our one thing. And that doesn't come naturally to all of us. We do need a bit of a guide in that process to get better at prioritizing and then to be able to solely focus on that one thing. So, yeah. And that one has a yellow cover, which is fun.
Yes.
Okay, the next book in our scientifically proven method is Something Newer Than 1 Year. And this one is Mind Your Money, Insightful Stories and Strategies to Help You Reach Your #money goals by Yaneli Espinel. And it goes through looking at your money, how to identify money goals and get after them by storytelling. So I'll just read a bit of the description. Most books about money are boring, they say in their description. I'm probably going to agree. Our brains crave stories, not seminars. Mind Your Money delivers all the personal finance basics through insightful stories with a splash of sass. I do love me some alliteration and sass. Yaneli knows how to make things easy to understand, which has earned her millions of views on YouTube at Miss B Helpful. Whether you're frustrated with your budget, dealing with debt, or struggling to raise that credit score, this book will motivate and inspire you to finally reach your #money goals. She happens to already have 5-star reviews on 81 reviews, which is pretty great on Amazon so far. So again, it's newer than 1 year. I always feel the need, just out of integrity, to say that I have not read all of these books on our list. This is more of those aspirational goals, and especially one that's very new. More so this, here's what we're putting, or at least for me, putting on my list of interests. And I am very drawn to stories. I mean, it kind of explains why I went into the mental health field. And so for those of us who want to be that person who will sit down and read a cerebral book about money and math, but just won't, and you know you won't, here's the one to pick up. It's going to help us understand math and money through some storytelling, through some humor, through some laughter, and that I can totally get on board with. I want to hear it from the lens of other people's experiences. I personally do find motivation that way, so I'm excited about this one.
Yes. I got to see her speak at FinCon last year, and she has so much energy, like not in the over energy sort of way. I love her energy. And she is Brooklyn born. She was an elementary school teacher. So she's got teaching at her heart. If you're familiar with Brooklyn born Latinas, she is your girl. She's another person of color in personal finance that's making personal finance more accessible. And I love the fact that this is a story-based book. Because, yeah, that is one of the reasons people, like so many personal finance books are the same, literally down to the chapters. There's a money mindset chapter, there's a saving chapter, there's a debt chapter, investing. They're all the same. But the fact that this is really story-based was why we added it to the list. And I mean, I just loved Yaneli's energy. And she does a lot of outreach for the younger generation. She's the Director of Educational Outreach for Next Gen Personal Finance, which is a nonprofit that is in Congress making sure every high school student gets a full semester of personal finance education, making it required by law in every state. That is her work that she does. And so I am obsessed with that. I love that. And so if anything, go buy the book to support her. But I think you'll also find that it is not like any other personal finance book, that you do not have this personal finance book on your shelf anywhere.
Yeah.
AI might be the most important new computer technology ever. It's storming every industry, and literally billions of dollars are being invested. So, buckle up. The problem is that AI needs a lot of speed and processing power. So, how do you compete without costs spiraling out of control? It's time to upgrade to the next generation of the cloud, Oracle Cloud Infrastructure, or OCI. OCI is a single platform for your infrastructure, database, application development, and AI needs. OCI has 4 to 8 times the bandwidth of other clouds, offers one consistent price instead of variable regional pricing. And of course, nobody does data better than Oracle. So now you can train your AI models at twice the speed and less than half the cost of other clouds. If you want to do more and spend less, like Uber, 8x8, and Databricks Mosaic, take a free test drive of OCI at oracle.com/strategic. That's oracle.com/strategic. oracle.com/strategic.
We know New Year's resolutions often don't stick. In fact, on average, they last around 30 days. So if saving money is on your 2024 resolution list, here's a foolproof way to stick to yours.
Switch your phone provider to Mint Mobile. For a limited time, wireless plans from Mint Mobile are $15 a month when you purchase a 3-month plan. That's unlimited talk, text, and data for $15 a month.
For those of you paying close to $40 a month for just one phone line, this means a savings of $300 over the course of the year. We especially like Mint because all plans come with unlimited talk and text and high-speed data delivered on the nation's largest 5G network.
To get this new customer offer and your new 3-month unlimited wireless plan for just $15 a month, go to mintmobile.com/frugal. That's mintmobile.com/frugal. Cut your wireless bill to $15 a month at mintmobile.com/frugal. Additional taxes, fees, and restrictions apply. See Mint Mobile for details.
All right. Now, something borrowed from our listeners. We will do an occasional poll on Instagram like, what are you reading? Or what have you read? What should we be reading? And a lot have you said in our last poll that we should be reading The Psychology of Money, Timeless Lessons on Wealth, Greed, and Happiness by Morgan Housel. This is by far one of the most popular personal finance books on the market. And it's not even 5 years old. Like, I couldn't even put it in the something old category if I wanted to.
Bummer.
But it was something that people have recommended time and time again. So it's based on Morgan Housel, financial journalist, wrote this piece. I think it was on Forbes, but it was a viral piece on the psychology of money. It was an article. And so he has turned that article into a full book. And the article, honestly, if you don't have time for another book, I think the article is required reading. We will put the link to the article in the show notes. But this is 19 short stories exploring the strange ways people think about money and teaches you how to make better sense of your life. So it's really personal finance as math versus personal finance as behavior and feeling. And it's crazy to think that people still think personal finance is math. Like, people think the best way to do personal finance is the mathiest way, when literally every study that's ever been done has created the field of behavioral finance. And it is still one of the most popular financial fields for people to go into. So this book, honestly, I did read it. And while I don't know if it's just me, I really think that you could just do with the article. Again, we'll put the link to it. But so many people love it. And it's got 40,000 ratings. So many people recommended that I definitely wanted to put it out there. So if you read the article and you want more, read that book. It's definitely going to be for free in the library.
Well,
definitely going to be there.
And thank you for our listeners, because this truly does feel like something that should be on our list. It's so congruent with the messaging that we have, that it's not just this static in a vacuum, do this, 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 and that. I mean, we can talk about finance as it relates to every single other aspect of our personhood, and understanding the ways in which the biggest, most important part of our body, our brains, plays into the way that we approach money, the behaviors around it, the habit formation, and how understanding our minds and behaviors is an integral piece to making and seeing real change with our finances. The two can't go hand in hand. They can't be separated. I can't help but wonder for you, Jen, if the article felt more like, oh, just read the article over the book, because we've been talking about something very similar for 5 years. Like where we feel a redundancy, we'll sometimes think, oh, then I don't need that. But that's not everybody's circumstances. Sometimes we need that kind of crash course, additional information to really understand it, versus you've invested 6-7 years into really understanding the integration of our mind with money. Mm-hmm. So it's probably a personal preference thing.
Yes. Part of me does think that that's it. But you would think after 7 years of studying something, I would think that a book would be warranted for it versus just an article. Yeah. Especially after said writer gets a book deal. Hopefully.
It can be said over and over and over again.
Yeah.
Well, look, take a look. Let us know what you think. But I am glad it's on our list. I do think it should be on our list. And thank you, listeners. Okay, the final tried and true category. This one is a stretch, not going to lie, if you look up this book. But here you go. Something Blue.
How is it? Stop.
Something Blue. Set Boundaries, Find Peace. A Guide to Reclaiming Yourself by Nedra Glover Tawwab. And the reason I say it's a stretch is because there is one blue square on the cover of this book.
Okay,
it is also
4 colored squares.
Yellow, salmon.
And one of them is blue.
Teal, white.
Okay.
And blue. A little bit of blue.
It's just got to have blue on it.
Yes.
We've amended the requirements
as
of late.
A slight stretch here because it's not primarily talking about finances, which I love. I am here for. But this one is primarily about setting boundaries. And how do we do that in order to achieve this kind of lifestyle that's going to be most beneficial for us? How do we cope with maybe even toxic people in our lives? Sometimes we're able to get away from them, sometimes we're not, and we need to know very strong boundaries and how to implement. How to enjoy rewarding relationships with our partners, friends, family. What do healthy boundaries even mean? How can we say no? How can we be assertive without offending people? So the author, Nedra, is a licensed counselor and sought-after relationship expert. Now I'm reading from the Amazon description. And one of the most influential therapists on Instagram, so you may know her from social media. She demystifies this complex topic for today's world in a relatable and inclusive tone. Set Boundaries, Find Peace presents simple yet powerful ways to establish healthy boundaries in all aspects of life. So it is rooted in some of the latest research and best practices using cognitive behavioral therapy, which is CBT for short. Side note, you have heard us talk about CBT on our podcast as well. So there's definitely a lot of overlap. You will be familiar probably with a lot of the concepts presented in Nedra's book about setting boundaries. So these techniques help us to identify and express our needs clearly and without apology. If you find yourself constantly being the one saying, I'm sorry, but then this book will probably help you to refrain from that tone over and over and over again when you're doing things that you actually don't need to apologize for, especially if you feel confident in doing them. So they also say that it can help unravel some of these root problems behind experiences of codependency or power struggles, anxiety, depression, burnout. And I can affirm this. I know you probably hear us talk about boundaries so often on the podcast, and it is because it's one of those very important life skills. Budgeting, money management, and boundary setting are some important life skills that if we did learn them in our youth, it is important to be practicing now. And learning boundaries, again, is going to help us in every aspect of life, including our finances. So even though this book isn't specifically talking about finances, learning this life skill will help us when it comes to that, because finances do intersect with relationships, partnerships, families, and ourselves, our own ability to say no and yes to ourselves, what's helpful, what's hurtful, what's beneficial, what's not. And so as we do that work of understanding boundaries at a broader level, we will then be able to integrate that understanding into our personal finance.
Yeah. I mean, we say that we are a lifestyle podcast that talks about the cost of your lifestyle, essentially, how to save money on your lifestyle and afford your lifestyle in the future through investing. Boundaries is really one of those subjects that if you don't have the skill of developing boundaries, it makes it harder to do all of the other things that are important for your finances. This book specifically goes through this 6 types of boundaries. I don't know if there's just 6 types, but she says there are 6 types: physical, sexual, intellectual, emotional, material, and time. And these are maybe 4 out of 6 ones that we talk about being frugal with, is being good stewards of our physical space, our material possessions, our time. So I think if you really resonate with the being good stewards of all of your resources, this book by Nedra will help you create boundaries so that you can take action on being a good steward of those resources. Because oftentimes, it's not that we don't know how or that we don't want to. It's that outside forces make it really hard to do the things that we want to do. But that doesn't mean we're not in control of how we react to those outside forces. And I think that's where books like this, while not money related, but adjacent to it, are really kind of like required reading for being good with money and just have the added benefit of being beneficial to every part of your life. So,
yeah.
I will note that she also has a new book out that is about specifically family relationships. It's called Drama Free.
Is it blue?
No, it's black. It doesn't even have a blue square on it. It's got other colored circles, but it's a guide to managing unhealthy family relationships. So if you've got unhealthy family relationships where there's a lack of boundaries and that is affecting your finances, maybe you are spending a lot of money supporting a sibling or a parent or somebody, that's also maybe a good one to queue up to read. That's a brand new one and
would probably even help
5 stars
in some of those difficult conversations. We will often talk about having money conversations with as an adult, with your adult parents. It can help in the intersection of finances so much. It's very cool.
Mm-hmm.
You know what also helps and is super cool? And it doesn't matter if it's old, new, borrowed, or blue. Sometimes it's none, sometimes it's all.
Sometimes it's by Bill Curtis.
The Bill of the Week.
That's right. It's time for the best minute of your entire week. Maybe a baby was born and his name is William. Maybe you paid off your mortgage. Maybe your car died and you're happy to not have to pay that bill anymore. Duck bills, Buffalo Bills, Bill Clinton. This is the Bill of the Week.
Hey Jen. Hey Jill. It's Jen. Since listening to you ladies for the past year, I've been able to lower 2 bills. One being my overpriced cell phone plan. I called, threatened to leave, and they lowered my payment by $15 a month. My other bill is my homeowner's insurance, which had increased tremendously, causing our mortgage payment to go up by $200 a month. So we called, shopped around, found a better rate, and was able to lower our mortgage payment. Thanks for all you do. Keep up the good tips. I'm loving it. Thank you.
Hi, Jen. Thanks so much. What a great bill. I love these bills when people do it. They make the phone call, they negotiate, and they see success and progress. And we've heard from so many people this success in lowering cell phone bills or internet bills, but it's also so encouraging, Jen, that you've given us 2 bills of the cell phone, which still takes a phone call and some guts sometimes, and your homeowner's insurance. I know I've been talking with so many people who are in similar circumstances where they're experiencing increased homeowners insurance rates that is drastically increasing their monthly mortgages, which is really overwhelming. So I'm so glad to hear that you've experienced success in lowering that bill too. Yay for shopping around. Yay for making the call and saving money. Well done.
Yes, you have reminded me I actually have to do that with our home insurance. So thank you, Jen, for helping me out.
And me too.
And
I'm going to do it too. This is a ripple effect you're doing. And thanks for listening. If you all who are listening want to submit your bill, if it has to do with calling, negotiating, lowering bills, if it has to do with running into a bill, if it has to do with what life is like growing up as a Bill, and that's your name.
As Bill Curtis. I'm putting it out there.
Visit frugalfriendspodcast.com/bill. Leave us your bill.
Hi, I'm Martine Hackett, and I'm hosting the 2nd season of Untold Stories, Life with a Severe Autoimmune Condition, a production from Ruby Studio in partnership with Argenix, sharing real stories of MG, CIDP, and other autoimmune conditions. We hope to share inspiration and educate the larger community about these severe and often overlooked conditions.
I can't fix this. I can't cure this. And, I'll take my treatment day by day, but I want to try to be engaged, be involved, or be as helpful as I feel I can with the limitations I have of working full time to children. So I participate in market research to provide information to hopefully benefit others, because it's a small margin of people that have the myasthenia, but then to get pregnant, it's an even more narrow margin. And you can't ever have too much information as an epidemiologist.
Yeah, exactly, right? Listen to Untold Stories, Life with a Severe Autoimmune Condition on the iHeartRadio app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Hi, I'm Cindy Crawford, and I'm the founder of Meaningful Beauty. When Dr. Sabah and I decided to do a skincare line together, he said to me, we are going to give women meaningful beauty. And I said, that's exactly right. We want to give women meaningful beauty, which means each and every product is meaningful. It has a reason to exist. It's efficacious. You're going to get results. And then you just go out and live your life.
Meaningful Beauty. Confidence is beautiful. Learn more at meaningfulbeauty.com.
And now it's time for the lightning round.
The lightning round. Pew, pew. I put Bill Curtis's face on a tote bag, and some of y'all voted for it.
And they're your real friends.
And the polls are anonymous, so I don't know who you are, but thank you. Thank you.
And the tote bag is for the referral program. You can get the tote bag for free. It won't have Bill Curtis's face on it.
It won't. Spoiler, it will not. But it will have a much cooler design that you guys voted on. But it could have had just a big Bill Curtis head on it.
Our real lightning round is favorite most recent read doesn't have to be financial. Jen.
Oh, it's not. Do you want to go first? Because I have several.
Gosh, she's so good at this.
It's the end of summer. Yeah, it's the end of summer. And it's summer's my reading time. So I have several.
I'm going to have to ask you in the after show how you find time for this. Okay, mine is, you know me. If it's going to be pleasure reading, it's children's books or tiny books. All the other books I read are social work.
Tiny books? What kind of tiny books?
Tiny. This one. Songs for Courage by Grace Noel Crowell. And it is a tiny little book full of poems. And I think it's adorable. I found this first at a used bookstore, and I thought it was adorable. It was very antiqued, jaggedy edges, has some person's name in the front of it because it was previously owned, and they've marked up little poems on the inside of it. And the poems are beautiful. and they have encouraged me through various seasons of life.
Aw, cute.
And it's one of my go-to gifts for people when they are experiencing grief, suffering, or loss. I think that poems, similar to music, can help touch a part of our personhood that just regular words can't. It's still words, but they're more beautiful. So there you go. Songs for courage.
That's awesome. All right. So let me go down my list of the summer reading that I did.
Oh my gosh.
I was on it wasn't, all of them weren't for me. I mean, I think I told you guys in the last episode maybe that I tried one Colleen Hoover book and I couldn't get through the first chapter. But I have been on a Taylor Jenkins Reid era. While everybody else was talking about Taylor Swift, I was exclusively talking about Taylor Jenkins Reid. And you might know her from Daisy Jones and the Six. That is the show on, I think, Amazon Prime. Because I did get a 30-day free Amazon Prime membership, and I watched it during that time. So she has these 4 books that live in the same era. And I think kind of all of her books maybe like live in the same era. It's not like a series or anything, but it's all about like famous people in LA. So they kind of all cross somehow.
Are they real famous people or are these almost?
No, they're made up.
Okay.
So last year I read Evelyn Hugo, 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. Spoiler alert, it is, I think, the best one of the 4. It was so good. So good. Daisy Jones and the Six, also good. But I think Carrie Soto is back. That one was my second favorite of the 4. And then Malibu Rising, third favorite.
Did you read all of these this summer?
Yes.
Okay.
Audiobooks, Jill.
Okay.
I don't read. I listen. Yeah, audiobooks. I drop my kids off at school and daycare every day. And, well, daycare over the summer. And I do chores. And I listen to audiobooks.
So your kids are listening to these too, or?
No, I will, once I drop them off, then I'll play it when I get back. Sometimes when I'm running, when I'm like taking a shower, getting dressed, getting ready for work. So my morning, basically from when I drop my kids off till I start work, is audiobooks.
I mean, this is helpful because I think I could have space for audiobooks, but when I go to my Spotify, I'm just thinking, I don't got time to pick something. I don't even know where I'd start music.
I'm on Hoopla.
And so an episode like this helps. Like you have a list of recommendations. Boom, that's what you do.
Yeah. So these are available on Hoopla. I know a lot of people use Libby or Overdrive. I personally use Hoopla. That's what my library connects to. But yeah, all of these were on there. And all 4 of those were good. I liked them. But that was just the order I liked them in. Daisy Jones was my least favorite. Evelyn Hugo was my favorite. I also read Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow by Gabrielle Zevin. Very good. It's not a love story, but it's got love in it and it made me cry. And it's about gamers, like video game designers. I have like no interest in video games at all.
I do remember you talking about this. Yeah, it is an interesting concept.
Yeah. And then I read a few that so the only one maybe that I didn't like was Bad Summer People by Emma Rosenblum. That was about like 1%ers in their summer homes on Fire Island, which I don't even know if is a real place.
It is.
Oh, okay, great. So not a big fan. I did like Happy Place by Emily Henry. It was good. It was definitely like stereotypical like love thing, which I'm not normally super into. I think I like the Taylor Jenkins Reid books because they are very unique twists on love. And they're not like just about the relationship, like the love relationships. Like I'm not a rom-com person, books or movies. But Happy Place was very romantic.
We're doing a whole other like half to this episode of like all
I know,
the
I'm so
findings.
sorry.
The question was your favorite, most recent read.
I can't pick.
Jen's an overachiever though, and she's real overzealous with this list.
Okay, and there's one last one though. It's also a Taylor Jenkins Reid book. It's called After I Do, where a couple a married couple takes a year-long break away from each other to see if they should stay married. I really liked that one. I think that could be like helpful for people too. So I would say of these, my favorite, I think Carrie Soto is back and After I Do, both Taylor Jenkins Reid. And, you know, where do you go for fictional book references, like recommendations? You go here. You come to the Frugal Friends book club episodes because Jen is going to say what she's been reading for the last 4 months. Yeah.
Because Jen's got this one in the bag.
And none of them are financial.
And Jill's always and forever going to say she's reading something social worky. And here's a book of poems.
Yeah. So you come for the financial books, but you stay for the Taylor Jenkins Reid recommendations. I'm in my audiobook era.
Wow, and we're all here for it.
Yes. So thank you so much for listening. We love reading your kind reviews, and we especially loved this one from Jenny and Noelle. Says, funny and frugal, a winning combo. Thank you, Jen and Jill, for so many episodes of practical, inspiring guidance on becoming and staying frugal. At its heart is the reminder that being frugal is not being cheap. It's about making conscientious and intentional financial decisions. Jill's perspective as a social worker is a bonus for me as I try to convince my social worker husband that we could change our finances for the better, even on his salary. The other bonus, laughing out loud as these two good friends crack jokes and get a little silly. Thanks, ladies.
Look at us getting silly. Thank you, Janaya Noelle.
Jill makes fun of me for doing so much reading.
No, I love it. You are goals. Thank you all for listening to us, because you can't read us yet. Someday you will, though.
One day.
If you enjoyed this show, yes, please take a minute to leave a rating and a review. Your enjoyment of it and description of it helps potential new listener friends know what the show is about, know if it's right for them. So we do love it. Thank you for helping us in that way.
See you later.
Frugal Friends is produced by Eric Siriani.
Jen.
Yeah.
I had a very frugal experience. I'm in my frugal era, which has been for a long time. It's my entire lifetime.
Thank God.
Yeah.
I'm thankful for that.
It was just my birthday. Ooh.
Yes.
And Eric got me many gifts throughout the entire weekend. I just kept coming into the kitchen and there'd be a new wrapped present, which is adorable. Aww. He's so amazing. But one of the gifts he got for me was a new pots and pans set.
Ooh.
Because 3 of my pans/pots were very uneven. So it made cooking quite frustrating that they weren't sitting flat on the stovetop. And so it was getting uneven heat. So certain things would be very cooked and other things would be hardly cooked. And I made do, because you know me, I just make do.
In your frugal era.
Yes. And one of my pots, my saucepans pots, didn't have a lid. And so I would use a bigger lid upside down on it when I'm making rice, because I don't have a rice cooker. I don't need all that. I figured out how to make rice in my regular pot and we good. But these issues collectively were making me like, okay, I need to solve for this issue. Like, I'm cooking a ton at home and this is a nuisance. I was definitely open to figuring out how to fix it. And I did look up a YouTube video, but didn't try to implement yet, and thinking that maybe I could just find a lid. Anyhow, Eric went the route of research and getting a whole new pots and pans set, which was amazing. And I'm glad he had this kind of initiative and motivation to, we're solving this now and now's the time it's going to happen. I opened it up. I am super grateful. That is my very first reactions. But then as I'm unboxing it, recognizing I don't think I like these. I don't think I want this. I think I'm really happy with what I have. If we could just fix what I have. And he was there for it, recognizing, yeah, this is a big decision. We've had our pots and pans for 11 years. For as long as we've been married, they've worked really well. They're stainless. I don't need the nonstick. Like, I figured out how to cook and things not stick to the pan. That's not a dig. It's just a me personally thing. And I think I like what I have. And so then that led us to immediately implementing on the YouTube video I watched, fix my pots and pans. They're now level. They lay flat. He found the lid for my saucepan that was missing a lid for $15 on eBay. That's going to get shipped in a couple of days. And for now, with shipping, $20 spent and 15 minutes in the garage hammering out the unevenness of my stainless steel pots. And then me spending probably 30 minutes scrubbing the pots because now I was excited to make them all look brand new. And they are sparkling clean. Thank you, barkeepers. I feel like I have a whole new, brand new set of pots and pans that work exactly how I want, look how I want. They are what I want. And hopefully I'm going to get another 11 years out of them. Shipping the new set back, that was a whole process, putting these pots and pans back into the box. That was like Tetris. And
wow.
Yeah, I'm not disappointed. Like the thrill of just getting something new isn't there for me. I really, truly, both Eric and I enjoyed the fact that we can make what we have work and actually like it more than the new thing. And I couldn't be more thrilled. It was a great birthday present.
Wow. That was a lot. And I didn't know
have to go.
I have to go. I didn't know that stainless steel pans could warp, which I guess that makes sense. I also have stainless steel. Do you have Calphalon?
No, they're Cuisinart.
Okay. But that you can then bend them back without any special tools.
I wouldn't have known either. Just a mallet and a straight edge and some earplugs.
Wow.
Yeah, I didn't know either until I looked it up on YouTube. And now I also know, I mean, that happened over the course of 11 years because earlier on in my early cooking days, I would put my hot pan under cold water immediately because I wanted it to immediately start to, take any browned bits on the bottom off. I wanted my cleaning to go easier, but also I did like the sizzling sound. I really enjoyed that. Just the eruption of smoke and sizzle was enjoyable for me in that cooking process, but it is what warped the pans. Now I know better. Now I won't do that. I'll let it sit on the stove for 20 minutes. Then I'll fill it with water. And that's no big deal.
Wow.
And yeah, save myself $250.
I'm glad that I know that now. Because I typically let my pans sit, but sometimes I'll put a little bit of water and put them back on the stove. So the water heats up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Huh. The more you know.
The more you know. Yep. Happy birthday to me.
Happy birthday. Yeah.
I get to keep the things I want. And now they work better.
Woo.
With the best all-inclusive vacation deals to Mexico and the Caribbean, booking your getaway with Cheap Caribbean Vacations means you have more freedom to do your deal. Whether you want to enjoy snorkeling, endless margaritas, and more, or simply soak up the sun and sand in a tropical paradise, Cheap Caribbean Vacations has your deal for that. Plan and book the exact getaway you want at exactly the right price for you by using our exclusive Budget Beach Finder, or find a featured all-inclusive package to Paradisus by Malia Hotels, and do your deal at cheapcaribbean.com.
Bring home Napoleon.
Destiny has brought me here.
The action epic from acclaimed director Ridley Scott.
What is your name?
Napoleon. You are the greatest leader in the history of the world.
Witness the rise.
You are nothing without me.
Of the legend. Starring Academy Award winner Joaquin Phoenix and Vanessa Kirby.
I'm the first to admit when I make a mistake. I simply never do.
Napoleon. Buy or rent on digital now. Rated R.